The path of embodiment will set you free. Welcome to this week's World Affairs Truth Report, number 19. I'm Helen Jane Rose. I'm an author, a channel, an automatic writer and an energy healer. And these reports have spawned from a book that I wrote through automatic writing called The Coming Times. And I'll be reading the report verbatim from what I automatically write each week. And then my lovely partner Jed will be joining me. He is a craniosacral therapist, an acupuncturist, and an energy healer. And he'll be joining me to unpack the messages and bring his wisdom to them. And yeah, sometimes as well, recently there's been a live meditation that comes through. So after I've read the report, as always, I'll just see if anything else wants to come through. Okay, I will begin reading the report for this week, number 19. Welcome, beautiful souls, to this week's World Affairs Truth Report. We wonder how you are feeling this week. Perhaps a little overwhelmed. Perhaps you are feeling that certain challenges feel insurmountable. Perhaps this week feels a little thicker than the last one. Why do we speak like this? Because we encourage you to accept that on the awakening and enlightenment path, there are most certainly ups and downs, and that to try and resist how you're feeling goes against the very path of embodiment that will set you free to be true to you. So you can experience being the embodied you within your body, the soul self, higher self, fully connected to your humanness that this life asks you to be, yet also holding an otherworldly understanding, if you like. An understanding that you are most certainly in the world, but not of it. A phrase we will keep repeating to remind you that this is the perfect place for you to be. Knowing at a deep level within you, a strong inner knowing that whilst you are in the world functioning, living, enjoying, you are also holding the consciousness that you are very much not of this world. You feel it at the very core of you. You know you are so much more than your human self. Yet you are starting to enjoy your human self. Your human self is starting to enjoy life, should we say. And then you question. You question life. You question your place in it. You question your experiences. And you try so hard to hold on to the fact that this is a journey and it will soon start to reveal itself to you. And that's where the faith and trust comes in. The believing before seeing, the trust through challenges, that whatever is happening for you, even when it feels like it isn't. And that's because it's all about inner alchemy. And inner alchemy is a hard thing for your mind to understand. Sometimes the external experiences that seem so happenstance, that suddenly just happen, were orchestrated by your soul for a specific reason. And that's where we wish to take your consciousness in this moment. That your soul really is in control. And the more you align consciously with your soul, the better you will feel from within you. And the more your life will start to flow for you and start to have a positive impact on others too. For they feel your authentic embodiment. Within authentic embodiment, the searching has stopped. The knowing has been fully activated. The external no longer has any hold over you. You are free. There is no better place for a soul to be. We highly recommend listening to our daily intention, surrender to your soul, to help you consciously align with what we speak of here. It's a process that starts with your genuine intention. We would like it to be read out to you here, and if you choose to repeat it inwardly or outwardly, as to do so will help you to align more. So I'll read it from the Coming Times book, and I'll read it slowly, so that if you do in your head want to repeat each bit, I think that's kind of what they meant. I think so. So I'm just going to read it out. Surrender to your soul intention. Today, I intend to surrender to the agenda of my soul. My soul knows exactly what's ahead for me today, and I surrender to what unfolds, fully accepting all that I will experience today. As I surrender to my soul's agenda, I understand that I will feel more and more peace, knowing that everything is as it should be. My soul has been in charge all along, and I am so grateful for finally realizing that it's true. That everything's unfolding exactly as it's supposed to. Today I release all thoughts that no longer serve me, and let go of all old beliefs about me. I embrace everything within me that has hidden my light, and know that everything that isn't me is coming up for me to see, so that I can finally embrace it and let it go from within me. I trust that my soul is leading me to the ultimate place I can expect to be, feeling peaceful, happy, and free. I am choosing to align with the love that I really am, and trust in my soul to take me there. I am light. I am laughter. I am the unconditional love that I have been chasing after. I close my eyes and say 3 times, I surrender to the agenda of my soul. I surrender to the agenda of my soul. I surrender to the agenda of my soul. I understand that my soul's agenda is for me to live each day fully connected to the joy that's alive within me. In accepting and embracing all of the emotions that I feel today, I start my day knowing that I'm a step closer to aligning with the true divine me. God lives within me. I know that in connecting with my soul in this way, I have now set in motion my new way to be. To stepping more fully into the higher frequencies of light, love, joy, and gratitude that I came here to express and be. My soul asked me to focus on something I love to do today. It could be something as simple as having a bath or reading a paragraph from an inspiring book. Something that relaxes me. My soul loves me unconditionally and whispers a reminder to me. Remember, remember the great power in surrender. I'll put the link to the audio version of that so that you can listen to it, and it's also got the transcript too. And then they just wanted me to read out at the end. We love you and honour you for having the courage to seek another way to live and be, the DC. Okay, so I'll just see if anything additional wants to come through me. Just going to close my eyes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We just wish to say that silence, sitting in silence, can feel very uncomfortable. For really, there is no such thing as actual silence. And there will always be some form of external noise and very much internal noise. For when you set on the path of genuinely trying to sit in silence, you notice very, very quickly how much noise is going on within you. Yet the practice of sitting in silence, even for just 5 minutes, consciously, with no other distraction around you, not music, not anything, just sitting, trying to be as still as possible. Just if time allows and is convenient for you, just allow yourself to get comfortable for a moment and just let your eyes close. And just set your intention to consciously surrender to your higher self, to your soul self, with the reminder that your soul self, your higher self, communicates to you through your inner silence. It finds its way through to you underneath your thinking. If you like, that's where inspiration flows from, the space in between your thinking. And then sometimes your thoughts are inspired too, and you start to feel a difference between the thoughts that weigh you down and the thoughts that uplift you. You start to feel them, then you start to notice a difference in them. And just sitting, not being asked to do anything in this moment. You're just giving yourself permission to just stop, to just sit. Perhaps you're lying down, either one. And you're just resting with the intention that you're consciously intending to surrender to your soul. Not needing anything to happen. Just allowing the moment to be. You are just allowing yourself to be. And whatever perhaps is happening in your mind, you're just allowing, observing and witnessing. Perhaps you're wanting to get up, perhaps you're thinking about things that you need to do. And we're just asking you in this moment to see if you can overcome that resistance to just sitting. And for a moment we are not going to speak. And then, only as and when you feel ready, to just open your eyes and come back to us. As we say blessings and love to you on your journey inwards and back to you. Okay, right, I am going to shift over. I hope you enjoyed that little message, and it is so true, isn't it? Sitting in silence does bring up everything inside us that isn't silent. Yeah, practice, 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 as they keep saying. Okay, right, I'm going to shuffle over and Jed's going to come and join me.
Thank you very much. Another wonderful message and meditation, and very important affirmation. I know Helen uses that one a lot, and I shall start using it a lot more. I do kind of use that, but in my own words, but I think it's nice to follow some words that have come from another dimension. They've maybe got some more gravitas, so I'm going to try that. Maybe you can too. It got me thinking I guess thinking being the operable, when they were talking about trying not to think when you're meditating, about moments of silence before something happens. And quite topical at the moment, I was thinking about the tennis, where the judge will not let proceedings go ahead. They can't take the serve until there's absolute silence in the arena. And when we're silent, then 2 or 4 tennis players can show us their magic. So we have to be peaceful. And the same with when you're waiting for a great orator to speak. You've got to be in that moment of silence and anticipation. And I think if you can focus on your heart when you're going into this silent place, and have an expectation that something's going to happen, and it might not be in that moment, it might be later that day or that week or whenever, where maybe a challenging situation where you would respond not in the best way sometimes, and you've just noticed that you've responded different. That's the magic that happens after you've allowed that energy to come through the heart space, and that happens in that silence. So you use your metaphor, your tool, your guide stick or whatever, if you can use tennis or whatever, just to help you focus on being still and being quiet, and with that anticipation that something's going to come through. Anyway, it's just a thought. It was just what I was thinking about in the meditation.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So this week's number 19. We're almost at the 6th month mark, and it's clearly moving into a movement towards stillness, a movement towards peace, a movement towards allowing the soul self to come through, or facilitating the soul self, making space for it. We're both enjoying the movement towards this. I hope you are too. And it was actually recognised this week in one of Helen's own meditations with the DC, where they suggested that they kind of knew that we were enjoying moving in this direction. And they were right. So they say, we wonder how you are feeling this week. Perhaps a little overwhelmed. Perhaps you are feeling that certain challenges feel insurmountable. Perhaps this week feels a little thicker than the last one. So for me it was a rhetorical question. We wonder how you are feeling this week, when clearly they already know how we're feeling this week and every week. And I looked up what rhetoric means, a rhetorical question rather, and one of the things was to stimulate an emotional response, which I hadn't sort of dwelled on before, but I think that's what they're doing with this. They're wanting you to go, one, to wonder how you're feeling this week, and one, to wonder how they know how we're feeling like this week. It's kind of getting used to the fact that there's non-physical assistance with us. I mean, the fact that you're following this anyway suggests that you buy into that philosophy. We certainly do, without any question. And so, yeah, what emotional response comes up when you think about that? And they're saying perhaps feeling a little overwhelmed, and they know we're feeling overwhelmed because the obvious outside world events are taking place, more things for us to consider, more things for us to be shocked by. I mean, that's just the way things are at the moment. But they're also talking about the inner world and dealing with our own responses to whatever's going on in the outside world and in our personal lives and within ourselves. And they've also suggested that perhaps things feel a little bit thicker than last week. And I wondered why that was. There's a lot of my personal sort of feelings, if you like. There's a lot of external activity beyond the planet in terms of solar flares, solar activity, solar radiation. And if you've got a few moments, instead of scrolling and passing by, maybe scroll and stick on something that talks about this kind of information. There's some really helpful stuff out there. My personal favourite is a chap called Stefan Burns. And so the planet and humanity are being asked to deal with a lot of increased radiation activity, and that affects our nervous system. And when your nervous system gets stimulated and we get triggered in some way, or thoughts come in, then it gets ramped up. And so it's a difficult thing. So something that was already challenging is now challenging by a lot more. And the same with the planet. The planet's response is through earthquakes, earth tremors, volcanic activity, weather patterns, all kinds of. She's having to manage her nervous system, if you like, through that activity, and the same thing happens in our body. And so they can feel insurmountable, but it's by design, and it's to create space, it's to create the possibility for more light to come through when we're releasing this energy. So we're having our own volcanic activity, our own earthquakes internally. But the way to allow that to move on with ease and grace, if you like, is to accept it. Put your hands up. I can't deal with this is too much. And asking for that help and knowing it's coming from your higher self. So use that meditation, use the affirmations, use whatever tools you have. Sit in patience and listen to your heart, and the knowledge that something's going to come through to help and support you with it. And so they say, why do we speak like this? Because we encourage you to accept that on the awakening and enlightenment path there are most certainly ups and downs, and that to try to resist and how you are feeling goes against the very path of embodiment that will set you free. To be true to you, you can experience being the embodied you within your body, the soul self, higher self, fully connected to the humanness that this life asks you to be, yet also holding an otherworldly understanding, if you like. So the DC deep dive into what's expected of us on an awakening journey, and that is to feel everything that's coming up and to try and not resist anything. So this is the job, or one of the jobs, for your heart, and it's the ultimate processor. There's nothing it can't process given the opportunity and allowance. So they're reaffirming here that the way to further your journey down the path of awakening, the path towards enlightenment, is to feel and embody everything. When we feel and embody and accept all that we are without resistance, all that we have difficulty with, all that we feel overwhelmed with, all the things that we just, everything about us, if you feel it, you allow it, and you allow it to find its way into your heart and your heart to deal with it, that creates the space for your soul to come in. And not just to come in, but to have a sustained period of time here in your body. So the old way, for most of us, certainly my generation, stiff upper lip, just carry on regardless, keep calm, carry on, and bury everything that's really important in your life somewhere in your body, for it to come and cause arthritis later on, or something even worse. And but that the game is up on that. The body can no longer tolerate it. The vibration on the planet is too high, and also we've got a job to do in terms of improving ourselves, expanding in consciousness. And so we have to encourage the body, support the body in its release process. Resistance prevents any of this from happening, and you're butting up against a process which is very natural and important in your life by creating a resistance pattern, and it will come up somewhere else, and it will find another place to go in your body and cause damage there, and then it will go somewhere else. So we've literally got to allow this process to happen. If you need to talk it through with somebody, talk it through with a friend, or go and get a therapist, talk in practice, go and get an energy worker, do something to help this move along. The resistance will tell you, or the feeling in your body will tell you if you're resisting. But it'll also tell you when you've set yourself free from it. You'll just feel so much better, and the pain and symptoms will start to dissipate at first and then disappear. So the DC are reiterating reasons, the reason for the human experience, the reason for the planet, is to become soul embodied. And the more we can free ourselves from these patterns of distortion, disturbance, then we pave the way for that soul to come in. It is desperate to be here in this body. It's modus operandum as well, is to be in a human form, but it has to be, we have to create certain criteria, meet certain terms for that to happen. And they're saying as well that, I guess this is an incremental process. So your soul just doesn't arrive in your body one day and then that's it, so have a party. And it's been coming and going ever since conception. I mean, it's all about creating a more sustained experience for the soul to be here, for it to literally take the reins and create a better life for you. And they're saying, they're kind of reflecting back on the future, I think, that there is a period of time when that happens. And when we become fully soul embodied, we'll have one foot in both camps. One will be this human, we'll still have this human body, we'll still have all the five senses, if not more. But another version of us that we'll be fully conscious of will be in another realm. So you'll have the wisdom, the knowledge of all your lives, otherworldly activities, source creation, everything. We'll literally have everything. And we can't even imagine that. I mean, it sounds amazing, the idea of it, but we've got no concept of what that is. But I guess somewhere deep inside of us we know that that's possible. So, an understanding that you are most certainly in the world but not of it. A phrase we will keep repeating to remind you that this is the perfect place for you to be. Knowing at a deep level within you, a strong inner knowing that whilst you are in the world functioning, living, enjoying, you are also holding the consciousness that you are very much not of this world. You feel it at the very core of you. You know you are so much more than your human self. Yet you are starting to enjoy your human self. Your human self is starting to enjoy life, should we say. So the way I interpreted this is that, as I say, we've got one foot in each camp, this world and the other world, but the dominance is the soul self, because that's the eternal aspect of us. The human self is just one aspect of a greater soul. So I guess for us at this moment in time, it's quite a difficult concept for us to grasp that, to understand it, that we hear about, talk about, when we're talking about it here, the soul self, we automatically think or feel it's a separate thing because we're all about separation. But it's not separate. It is us. But at this moment in time, we're conscious of this human being and our mind and our body, and the soul comes in, at moments where it's needed. But somewhere deep inside of us, we know that there's something greater that is us, and we're being asked to, I guess, rely on a lot more blind faith and trust that this is the truth, that this is what's happening, it's what's going to happen. Otherwise, why would we pray? Why would we even choose religion? What are we actually praying to? And pretty much everyone on the planet prays to something or other, or someone or other, and that's just a stepping stone towards praying to your higher self. The concept that we're actually praying to ourselves is a bit of a weird one, but that's exactly what we're doing. And the last part of the sentence was slightly odd, I thought. It says, yet you are starting to enjoy your human self is starting to enjoy life. And I don't know if I interpreted it correctly, but it seemed to suggest that up until now humans haven't really enjoyed themselves very much. All considered, I mean, we've been around for a few thousand decades. I'm not quite sure when the first conscious humans came, but we've been around for a fair while. And we've experienced a lot of difficulties and things, but I'm sure there's been some sense of enjoyment along the way. But what I feel is that what they're trying to say is we've got no concept of what real joy is, or what real peace is, and what really enjoying the human experience is all about. And they're suggesting here that we're starting to step into that already, or we've certainly opened the doorway for that process to happen, which is an exciting thing. And the more and more we can work on ourselves, the more we can create peace inside, then the more the soul light can come through, then the quicker that process will happen. And then they go on to say, and then we question, this is part of the spirit path, the journey, this enlightenment and embodiment journey. So we question life, we question our place in it, we question experiences, and we try hard to hold on to the fact that this is a journey and it will soon start to reveal itself to you. And that's where faith and trust come in. So it's a reflection of a spiritual journey. I think we notice things through subtle changes at first, and then we start to question. When I guess a little bit further down the spiritual path, we start to understand ourselves a bit more. We notice the subtle changes in the body, in behaviour, in how you think and how you feel. And we're still met with life challenges, but there's some difference, and we then start to question, maybe are you in the right work, the right job, friendship groups, even family? Do you change the programs you watch on the TV and read different books? We start to question. I'm not saying things are right, wrong or indifferent. We just start to question, what is it that I really like? What do I love to do? And then sort of a little bit further down the line, if you like, you start to recognize the challenges in life as opportunities. We've mentioned this many times before. And then you start to recognize that their soul, the architect of all of this, is your soul, your higher self. It's coming from you. It's by design. And when you can have absolute trust and faith in that process, then we move through those things so much easier. They're not, well, I'm not talking about burying your head in the sand. When you get full impact, when you wake up one morning to an email or some news, whatever, of a challenging situation, you've got to feel that. That's what we're here for. What they're saying is that the more you have trust and faith that your soul is the architect, then that wave starts to pull back a little bit. The impact isn't as strong, and you've got that sort of time and space to deal with it and to process it, to sit with it, to understand it, to even reflect on how that's maybe been a pattern in your life, and opportunities to change, modify your behaviour. So it becomes a wholly different concept altogether. The believing before seeing, the trust through challenges, that whatever is happening for you, even when it feels like it isn't. And that's because it's all about inner alchemy. And inner alchemy is a hard thing for your mind to understand. So just reiterating what I've just previously said, but also adding in here alchemy, inner alchemy. So alchemy, the alchemical process is a transformational process. And the dictionary says it's pseudoscience, historical pseudoscience, which is a really interesting concept. Your mind wants to see things. It wants to see evidence. So it's a modern day scientist in that it behaves in the same way. If you can't prove that to me, then it's not true. So we're being asked to be pseudoscientists in that alchemical process. And what the DC are saying here is that the evidence will come afterwards. The process starts inside, so there's lots of changes. And in fact, Helen, you got a message this week to that effect, didn't you, about there's a lot going on internally which you don't know about, which we maybe never know about. You start to feel differently, but there's a lot of things going on in the background that are affecting us internally in the way we are experiencing our human self. Some of it's chemical, biological, but a lot of it is how we are, how we feel, and how we present to ourselves and others. And that's what's happening first, and we're being asked to trust that that's happening. And then, as we've said in previous reports, that the new way of creation starts from the inside out. So if you're creating from chaos, you'll create chaos. If you're creating from peace, you'll create peace. So have that trust and faith that if you're doing this work, if you're dedicated to it, even though you can't see evidence on the outside just yet, it will come. Sometimes the external experiences that seem so happenstance, that suddenly just happen, were orchestrated by your soul for a specific reason. And that's where we wish to take your consciousness in this moment. That your soul really is in control. And the more you can align consciously with your soul, the better you will feel from within you. And the more your life will start to flow for you and start to have a positive impact on others too. For they feel for your authentic embodiment. Well, I guess we've just spoken about that, or I have. It's again, nothing's happened chance, nothing's left to chance. That the soul is the architect, and everything is soul led, and they're just asking us to really recognize that and believe that. Within authentic embodiment, the searching has stopped. The knowing has been fully activated. The external no longer has any hold over you. You are free. There is no better place for a soul to be. I think this is quite a difficult concept, but I feel like it's becoming closer and closer. I can cognize this quite easily. I understand that. I even accept it. But we have to get to the point where we know it. And knowing comes through embodiment. And the knowing comes through to the surrender of not knowing sometimes, and just being honest with yourself in any situation, finding that stillness, going to those meditations, those affirmations, feeling what's going on in your body, and having blind faith. Do your best not to resist. When you feel resistance coming, just sit and breathe into those spaces, recognize and acknowledge that you're resisting. Make an affirmation that you want to move beyond resistance. You can make one up, or where can they find some more affirmations in the coming times?
Yes, absolutely. At the end of each chapter, which, it's also actually in audio version. So now a lot of people find it much easier to listen. So at the end of each chapter there are suggested affirmations.
Yeah, they work, and they're great tools. We need things to lean on at the moment. Enjoy them, and then if you're enjoying the ones that have already been written, then maybe sit and meditate and come up with your own. No one's going to measure you or judge you, and there's no teacher going to give you 3 out of 10 could do better in your report. No clues as to my school reports though. Just finally, underlining that, don't deny or sanitize your feelings. It's important to acknowledge whatever comes up, whether that can be rage or sadness or grief or frustration, whatever it is. You've really got to allow it, and then just invite that to transmute, alchemize in your body. And then when you do, that turns into wisdom and no longer has to trigger you anymore, no longer has to keep appearing in your outside world. And then you create more space for your light to come through, and then the soul comes through for longer and longer periods of time. That's how the process works. It's a well-organized, well-rehearsed process. I have blind faith in that. And yeah, enjoy your journey with it, and I'm sure we'll have lots more from the DC, from Helen, on this topic. Read the Coming Times as well. It's got much more information about this. And yeah, don't give yourselves a hard time. Most important. But thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Number 19.
Yeah. Gosh.
And tune in next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sending love and blessings.
Bye.
Bye.